Bank repo, bank repo, bank repo. Today's video is all about bank repossession vehicles, how I buy them, what kind of shape they're in when they come in here, because sometimes they're pretty rough, like this one right here. What kind of discounts are you getting when you buy bank repossessed vehicles? Like, is it worth it? What do you have to do to these cars? And can you sell them for a profit? We're gonna find all of that out today, and we're gonna try to bring this car back to life. This is the belle of the ball, the star of the show. My name's Craig from Flying Wheels. Let's kick it. So hey, once again, my name is Craig from Flying Wheels. I own a car dealership, and this truck right here is one of my most favorite vehicles to buy. Rough, ugly cars. Like if you look at house flippers, they like to buy ugly houses. That's what this truck is. If I just go buy a super clean truck, I'm paying all the money for them. I'm paying retail, it's hard to make a profit on it. But when I find diamonds that are rough like this one, I grab them up and we get them at a discount. Now the profit is made in the purchase. When you purchase a car, you're gonna make your profit at the end, yes, but you make it based on what you pay for it when you purchase the truck. Now this one right here, we paid just about $13,000 for, which is insane for a 2015 GMC Sierra Denali. But you can see there's some paint chipped rusty spots, but these are all things that we can take care of. It's missing the fender trims here. There's some what looks to be like scuffs here, but it's because somebody had put on fender flares. Why did they put on fender flares? Well, these trim pieces, like I said, are missing, and they're like $150 each. I can buy a set of fender flares for $150, but they're gonna look bad on this truck. But the other reason it might have had fender flares is because these wheels aren't the original wheels, and the tires are kind of beat up, and it looks like it has a leveling kit or a lift kit. So this truck probably had bigger wheels and tires, which is why they had larger fender flares. Now I bought this thing from the bank. It was a bank repo, which sucks because people stop taking care of their cars. The first thing they stop doing is stop making their payments. Then they stop maintaining their vehicle, and then eventually the bank repossesses it. And that's why they probably put these wheels on it, because they didn't want it to get repossessed with the nice wheels and tires. But to be honest with you, these 22-inch wheels and tires are in pretty good shape. I think they're gonna clean up really well, but we're gonna still have like a pretty big gap here from the lift kit. Now, the passenger front window does not raise. We're gonna have to figure that out. The carpets are all soiled and stained, and the leather is just dirty and dusty. Like all the perforations are really filthy. We have a crack in the windshield. The headliner is stained, and then just the paint is dull, faded, scratched. This truck is in rough shape, but it does have an aftermarket exhaust, and it is a Denali, and it's like I said, it's a diamond in the rough. It's scuffed and scraped everywhere. Now, the good thing about it is it's not rusty. Now, we live in New England, and typically like these cab corners and rocker panels are all rotted and rusty. We have a little bit of bubbling, but they're not terrible. Going into the inside on the driver's side, like the seat isn't all ripped up and chewed, it's just a little frayed. We can take care of that stuff. And if you see here how dirty this is gonna take some work. It's gonna take some love. Now, unfortunately, I lost German. So now we subcontract our work out. What does that mean? We send the work out to other people to do the work, which is great because it's 100% deduction on my tax returns. I write them a check. I don't pay unemployment tax. I don't pay insurance on them. They cover their own expenses. It's great. They show up with their own materials. This is what we're doing here. So now for all you people that are starting out, that don't have all the materials and the equipment or even the skill, this is how you do it. And this is what I did when I first started out. I was sending my vehicles to other mechanics, sending my vehicles to other auto detailers to let them do the work, let them do it all, and then we just go pick it up when we're done. So that's what we're doing with this one. First, we're gonna take it to my auto detailer. We're gonna get a blank slate. We're gonna see how bad it really is when he's finished with it. And then we're going to try to do the repairs to it. So let's get started. 6 a.m. next morning, drop the truck off at Uber Reflections to see what they can do to it, because I'm hoping they have some magic to work with that they can really bring that thing back to life and make it pop. Detailer tried to jump start the truck backwards and blew not just the fuse or relay, but the entire like fuse panel that sits on top of the battery. It cost me $90 to have somebody diagnose it, and then luckily the windows broke. $70 for the panel, and I'm here trying to at least jump it, put a jumper on it so I can move it, because as you can see, it's in a no parking lane, and I'm being called to get rid of it. So I'm being told when he reversed it, he blew this fuse right here. So I have to jump it from here to here, put a jump pack on it, and I should be okay. So we'll find out right now. Okay, so I have a jumper going from there to there. Let's turn the jump pack on, see what happens. I hear dinging, that's a good sign. Pan the butt, but at least it worked. All right, I had mentioned it earlier. Today's video is brought to you by Scentbird. What is Scentbird? Man stuff. Scentbird is a monthly subscription service that brings me men's colognes. And not like the little vials that you get sprayed at the mall, like decent sized colognes. And I got multiple of them in this month's fragrance set. This one right here is Prada. I've been spraying it all week. My wife loves it. So I'm not up to date on what the new scents are, what the new designer brands are. So Scentbird takes care of it. This month I received fragrances from Dolce & Gabbana, The One, Prada Luna Rossa, Versace Dylan Blue. They're good size, like this will last me at least a month. You don't believe me how great it is? Let's pan over to my wife and see what she thinks about it.
All right, I've got Prada.
Prada.
Ooh, Dolce & Gabbana.
Taryn, come smell me.
Come smell me.
Oh, this smells
This is
so
Burberry. Every month,
I'm
you get a
Prada.
new one of these sent to you that you get to try out. And then if you like it, you just buy more. But every month's like a gift to you or a gift to your significant other if you want to buy it for them. It's a good idea. Use code FW55 to get 55% off of your first month subscription of Scentbird. It's just a little over $8 for your first month to try out, and it's available in US and Canada. Thank you to Scentbird for the sponsorship, and make sure to check out their link down below. So the GMC Sierra Denali is back at the shop. Terrible news is my detailer closed his shop completely. Like one of the best detailers I've ever worked with. He did my Corvette, he did the paint protection film, he did the ceramic coating, he does all my good stuff. And he also brings some seriously ugly cars back to life. Went out of business. Why? Lack of employees. So it's a real bummer. Luckily, I have my guy Chase crushing it on this truck because this thing was detailed, and I'll say that very loosely. It was cleaned. Now it's all about the actual detail, which is what he's doing. So you'll see the headliner. Look at the headliner now. He has his detailing brushes and wands that you see in like TikTok videos and everything. He's cleaned the cup holders. Have you already done these leather seats?
I went over them with conditioner.
Yeah, they already look significantly better. There was dinge and grit and grime all over here, the steering wheel, the center console. These are things that people don't think about. They clean the car, they don't really detail the car, and that's the difference between the two. Look at that right there, look at that right there. Now let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna go over to this Corolla right here. It was my aunt's car. She had it detailed at a car wash. You can still see scuffs all over the bumpers. I mean, it was washed and probably spray waxed, which isn't sufficient. Here's some scuffs right here on the bumper. 64,000 miles, but this isn't even the example that I wanted to show you. If you go into the car and you look at the steering wheel, you'll see like that is hand grime, just nastiness from dirty hands. She was a smoker too, so it's probably part nicotine. You can see it on the shifter as well. These are things that people see when they are shopping, when they're looking for cars, when they're buying. Like there's a piece of hair still on the roof. These are things like when I'm looking for a car, when I'm shopping for a car, and all consumers and buyers, look at that right there and there. These are the first things they notice. Oh, it's not really clean, it's just kind of clean. You want these cars to look as new as possible. So spend the extra time or the extra money if you're subcontracting, whatever. Get it done right, get it done well, because the first impression, like customers know right away if they're buying this car or not. When they see it and it's dingy, it's a turn off. When they see it and they go, wow, that is the selling feature right there. So spend the extra time or the money to really make sure the detailing is done and it's not just like a half rear-ended job. Now I want to be clear, I own a car dealership, and because I have a car dealership, or in order to start my car dealership, I need a license, a dealer's license. To get into auctions, you need to have a dealer's license. There's really no such thing as an auction license. If you have your dealer's license, I can go into auctions all across the country. I can go in and I can buy like the trade-ins to new car dealers, wholesale prices, like that F-150 over there. I can buy trade-ins to like used car dealers or used car dealer cars that have been sitting on their lot for too long that they had financing for that they need to sell. So I can buy those at a discount. I can also buy the bank repossession. Now, what do I mean? You go out and you buy this truck. You pay $34,000 for it, you finance it through your credit union. Well, maybe you lose your job, maybe you get into some tight times, maybe you have some medical bills, you can't make this car payment anymore. Or just fuel stinks on it, or something goes really terribly wrong that you can't afford to fix. What happens is people stop paying the note on their truck or their car or their loan. So they just stop making those payments. Well, just like a house goes into foreclosure, a truck or your car will go into repossession. It will go up for repossession. The credit union takes it back and they run it through a dealer auction to sell it for whatever they can get. Now, I get the vehicle, I buy the vehicle, say for $12,000. The difference is wiped clean. Now, most of the time it's pushed on over to the credit report for the previous owner, but me as a dealer, I have no worries about that. I get a free and clear title with repossession paperwork and a lien release, meaning there is no more lien on this vehicle. So I can sell this to whoever I want for whatever I want, and I can try to make as much money as I can because the bank took the loss on this vehicle already, just like they already did on bank foreclosure foreclosed homes. It's the same idea. Now, it's tough for you to buy bank repossession vehicles when you don't have a dealer's license. I mean, I go to the auctions and I buy these things because I have my dealer's license. It's not easy to get. I mean, you can't just Google it and then go get one. It cost me lots of money, lots of mistakes, lots of time, lots of trial and error to figure out how to do that. Perfect segue. If you ever wanted to learn how to do that, I can teach you. Startyourdealership.com, www.startyourdealership.com. I teach you not just how to get your dealer's license, like you can learn that from your state, but I teach you how to start your own car dealership, how to find your location, what vendors to use, who to buy from, who not to buy from, how to make yourself money. Like, how do you get loans to buy these cars if you don't have money? How do you finance your customers? All these things that you don't think of until you're in the business and you have no idea what you're doing. I created an entire program that teaches you how to do that. www.startyourdealership.com. You should definitely check it out if it's something you ever thought of doing. And then you can buy trucks like that I'm gonna sell for hopefully $20,000 plus for $12,000, or trucks like this that I paid 14 or something for that I'm gonna hopefully sell for $22,000. That's not always the case. Like that BMW is a disaster. So you win some, you lose some, you just hope you win more than you lose. So we're on to our second detail and paint correction on this truck. And if you look here, these giant fender flares the person had just rubbed against the fenders for God knows how long. And this is like past the clear coat. It's into the base and below that. So there's nothing we can do to get that out. So now do I just replace these right here? Do we get full-size fender flares again to cover it? And if you notice here, like it's down to the metal again. So we can't even do anything about that. And then these I'm gonna grind down and do like a POR, paint over rust, later on before we put fender flares on. Look at that, it goes all the way down here. I don't know what we're gonna do with this. Now the windshield is in. We're doing as much paint correction as we can. And then I take it to the tire shop because it's leaking. All these tires are leaking at the valve stem and the bead on every wheel, so we're gonna see if they can correct that for me. And as far as the headliner goes, the stains are coming out, but I have to take care of that sunroof, the sunroof drains too, because the stains will just come back as soon as it rains again. And then I like doing this to rocker panels. So this is a chip guard that we sprayed on, and we don't just roll it on, we actually sprayed it on, because rockers in New England tend to get rusty, they tend to get crusty. So this is gonna hopefully protect it a little bit and kind of keep it together too. They weren't really rusty anyway, but I'm hoping this is like a preventative measure. Cab corners too, or you know, that's just a common New England thing. All right, tires are inflated. Let's see how long they're gonna hold. They'll hold to get to the tire shop at least. Let's see if they can fix it for me. 3 of the 4 tires have low tire pressure. Ooh, is that a crack in the rim or just peeling chrome? I don't even know. Hey, so we have some updates on the GMC Sierra Denali today. It should be pretty close to getting finished. I still haven't decided what I'm doing here, if I'm getting these small fender flares or the big fender flares, because you'll see the lines from the large fender flares before. If I get these, then I'm gonna have to change the wheels to get bigger tires because of the gap to close it in. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm gonna have to change those out anyway because the stems and the bead is leaking on these rims on all 4 tires. Hey Chase, you mind?
Yeah.
We had some crazy stains up here, and obviously it's water leaking in from the rear window. I have the window guy here replacing the front windshield, so I'll ask him about this. What are you doing to remove these stains?
Well, I'm using an extractor and a steamer.
That's just like a carpet shampoo, right? You can get these anywhere. And then a steamer too?
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
Some of this is so ingrained in here, it's hard to get out with just the extractor.
Right.
So you almost have to burn it out.
That's awesome, thanks.
Yep.
And then I'll have the window guy see what he can do about it too. The sunroof drains out the back?
No, if it backs up, it can puddle up into wherever the lowest point of the headliner.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, because actually your stains are more towards that way anyway. If it was leaking towards the back, your stains would be further down, like below, which could be if the slider was ever replaced, which I don't think it has been by the looks of it. Or your third brake light gasket could be dried up.
Oh, all right. So third brake light gasket or sunroof drains probably.
Drains
Good,
right
I'll
now.
check that. Thank you very much. Hey, check this out that I just noticed. I'm in my Denali now. Same thing back there. Didn't even think of that. And I've actually cleaned these drains before, and those are old stains. So that makes a lot of sense. I just always thought the drains are usually here and there on both sides. So I would have thought that, I don't know what I thought, but that makes a lot of sense. Usually a third brake light or that seal around the rear windows, but I never even tied this into that. It's good to know. We'll check those out later on. Halfway through is pretty impressive. What are you doing here?
Water, rag, and just wiping it down, adding a little bit of this black polish to it. Works perfectly.
It looks great.
It smells good too.
Yeah. All right, I would highly recommend if you're doing these things like at home, or don't do them outdoors because you'll be a disaster. But if you're doing in your garage, don't blow everything out of your garage because you're gonna blow all the dust up in the air and then it's gonna settle on your paint. Don't do that. What you would wanna do is wet everything down. So you normally would wanna wet all the floors down because it holds the contaminants on the floor instead of stirring it up into the air and then getting on your paint, okay? So we have all of our spots sanded down to the bare metal, and we're using a POR, a paint over rust product, to go over the metal. So you'll see here, no more rust, right down to the metal, bare metal. And then even before priming it, we use our POR, paint over rust product. That's just gonna cure to this, have a chemical bond to the metal and any existing rust. It's like a rust reformer. That way you don't have bubbling underneath the trim pieces that I'm gonna put on here. I don't wanna just put it over rust. I wanna see if we can try to stop it as much as we can. Off. Now it's getting primed. Masks are important because you don't want to be breathing in these VOCs and end up causing cancer one day. I'm going to test the paint, not on the bumper. I'm going to test it in an inconspicuous area that's not involved on the car. Air pressure's too high, okay? Air pressure's too low, all right? Find your balance. There we go, all right? When I paint, I go from end to end, okay? I don't just spray little areas. I just watched a movie called Losers, like an army movie with Captain America in it. They were painting a helicopter. In the background, the actor was literally just doing this on the helicopter. It was so frustrating for me to watch, okay? You wanna go from end to end when you spray. You don't turn your wrists, okay? So go one end, all the way to the other, all right? Light coats are better than heavy coats, okay? So I'm gonna do lots of light coats, and I'd rather it settle, and I'm gonna wait, let it get tacky, and then I'll go again. Heavy coats, you'll end up having the paint run, and then you're gonna have good big run spots down your bumper, whatever you're spraying. First coat, light coat, consistent. When I'm spraying, I'm usually 8 to 10 inches away from the paint, staying consistent. Perfect lesson on this BMW. If you look, you can see those half circles that look like 2 fingers went across it. That's exactly what happened. When the guy was prepping it, he touched it after he had washed it and cleaned it all to make sure it was smooth. And your fingers have oils in them, and the paint reacts with them. So even if you think you're just touching it, it's no big deal, the oils in your fingers will do exactly that. Cheap car, I don't really care. I would have prepped it differently if it was like my 73 Mustang or my Skyline. These ones I don't really care about. All right, it's been about 15 minutes, so the paint is now tacky. I can put on my second coat. This is what the first coat looks like. If I were to touch it, which I wouldn't, it would leave a fingerprint. It wouldn't stick to my finger, or maybe it would a little bit, but it would just leave a little fingerprint. That's how you know it's tacky. That's not how you test it though. But now we're ready for the second coat. I can go on a little bit heavier this time. GMC Sierra bumper, done. I think I might do another coat on that actually. This GMC Sierra bumper, ooh, perfect. BMW hood, nice gloss. And the Tahoe came out amazing. Old wheels are off. Escalade wheels going on. Escalade wheels from Escalade convertible on the Escalade. So it's error correct wheels are on the Escalade. New Escalade wheels that don't say Escalade are going on the Denali. And now that these are off, I can go get them fixed. We got our brand new fuse panel from the dealer. Brand new battery too. So we are making progress. Product. Those wheels really filled the car out nicely. It looks awesome. I am so pumped about the finished progress of this vehicle and how it came out. Wow. Before that happens, listen to the 6.2 roar with this exhaust. It's not too loud, just sounds meaty. I like that. So I'm just sitting here on a hot day, eating my ice cream sandwich at the gas station, admiring what a beautiful truck this is. It came out so nice. I am so pumped about this. Holy moly, check out the truck behind me. It was just a few short weeks ago that I was over in that spot telling you how disgusting this truck is, and now it's photo ready. It's retail ready. It is ready for sale. I love those wheels. I actually love the lift on it now. The paint came back. This is the stuff that makes me like my job. I had fun doing it, and it just, I knew it was a diamond in the rough when we bought it, and it's not perfect, but it has 160,000 miles, so you can't expect it to be perfect. It has a front end lift. It runs great. It's four-wheel drive. This car is awesome, and it's a Denali. This isn't like an SLT. This is the big boy pack, which is really neat. So there are still some flaws. Now you'll see where the old fender flares were. It cut right into the clear coat and the paint. So we did end up getting the original moldings, which were ridiculously expensive. I hate getting taken advantage of. These moldings, $170 each aftermarket. The dealer wanted $250 each. $500, wait, $1,000 in moldings. Wow, that's embarrassing how bad my math is. $1,000 for little plastic clip-in moldings. Literally, they pushed pinned in. That's how easy they were. And it's just a bummer that somebody put on the big fender flares and didn't put the rubber grommets, the rubber seals around the edges. When you buy fender flares, they never mount on right. They're aftermarket, but they usually come with like weather strips, kind of like seals around it, and that protects this from happening. But I'm not about to paint an entire bed on a 160,000 mile truck. What is that? It's just wax. Now, a few scenes ago, you did see me working on it in the garage. It was in my garage. We did a 2-stage polish. So I did a buff with a rubbing compound, and then we did a polish on it. Remember, I painted the bumpers, and I said, you don't have to mask off your whole car. I'm spraying it with light pressure. Wrong. Welcome to the biggest hack on YouTube. That is overspray right here. See the line right there? I don't know if you can see that, but that's overspray. There was some on the hood I had to get off. I know better, and I was lazy. I didn't prep it right. Poor planning, poor preparation makes for more work on the backside. I had to buff this whole thing because of it. My own fault for being lazy. So follow in my footsteps, but the opposite way. Do opposite of what I'm doing, because that was stupid of me. I knew better, and that's what happened. Now we have a dent here that came from originally. Interior, leather's clean. Carpet's clean. No odors. Headliner came out great. Oh my goodness, look at these seats. Don't mind my Gatorade bottles over there. It's hot out today. Look at these seats. Headliner, no more stains. And we figured out the leak. It was from the sunroof, so that's done too. All right, you'd think the video would end right now, but it's not going to. I never talked about these wheels. These wheels came off a $1,700 Escalade. Yeah, $1,700 Escalade that I bought. Those wheels and tires, easily $1,700. So now I took those wheels off the Escalade. I put the wheels off my chop top Escalade, the original like factory wheels, on the new Escalade. Took those off the Escalade, put them on this. Those wheels are easily $1,700 alone. So now essentially I have a free Escalade and another set of 22s that I took off of this, so I can dismount the tires, fix the wheels, put the tires back on. I have a set of 22s now to put on something else when we get another project. I got those, which fill the gap of the wheel wells. The 22s had smaller sidewalls. These 20s actually fit the truck better too. I forgot about that exhaust. Check out this exhaust. The tips are painted like black. We use like a stainless steel gunmetal color to paint the tips. It sounds great. It runs great. It looks great. You'd think the video was going to be done, which is what I was going into a minute ago. It's not. Now we're going to sell this thing. So like 10 seconds from now, we're going to talk about how we sold it, what we got for it, did we make a profit. So stay tuned. All right, so let's talk about photographing. This truck is photo ready now. So I take the photos when the sun is like not peaks, because noon it's like real bright. I like to take it right before dusk because the sun's a little bit lower, especially on black. It'll show all the imperfections if the sun's at its highest point. I take portrait photos, which are like, like blurred background photos, and I take them landscape length. But for my first two, I take them portrait mode, which is like up and down. So I turn my camera tall-wise for the first two photos because they show bigger on like Marketplace and all the other websites. And then all the others are more detailed, so I turn them to landscape on my phone, and then I blur out the background. Then I put it in the shade, so you'll see it's shade over here, and I take photos of the interior. Reason being, you don't want shadows. So when I open my door and I go to take a photo in the sun, all you see is shadows. If I do it in the shade, no shadows. All right, it's been 1 week. That truck, we have a deposit on it. Craig, you just made a video on how you never take deposits. You're right, I never take deposits. I don't like deposits, but this one is going a couple states down. It's going pretty far south. So I took a deposit while the guy gets financed, and then we're gonna arrange the shipping, and it gives him a couple days to get everything in order. That's when I do take down payments or deposits or retainers or whatever you wanna call them. this truck. I listed it for $20,000. I have received an insane amount of phone calls because it's probably the cheapest, newer body style Denali on the market anywhere up here, and we're going into truck season. 20 G's. The truck should be sold in the next couple days. If so, let's see how we did on it. Now at 20 grand, this will actually be the cheapest new body style GMC Sierra Denali that I've sold. And you've seen how much work we put into it. So you have to be able to look past the ugly. You have to be able to like see the good in the bad. And that's what I enjoy doing. I knew that truck was gonna come out awesome. It took some elbow grease, and honestly, 20 G's is probably undersold, but let's see how we did on it. All right, I paid $13,140. I sold it for $20,000. I made $6,960, right? No, that isn't how it works. That would be your gross profit, what you sold it for versus what you paid for it. I also have expenses. You have to calculate the expenses, obviously. So you add the expenses to your purchase price, then you subtract what you sold it for. That's how you get your net profit. Now, completely different from business, because I have lots of business expenses that aren't even accumulated or being considered into this. All the business expenses are deducted on my taxes. Let's just say this specific vehicle. Had you done it, not owning a business, doing these repairs, this is what it would have cost you. $13,140 was the purchase price. I did a battery for $150. I paid $250 to have it detailed. The car then died because somebody jump started it backwards. It cost me $200 to diagnose and have repaired. I then had it detailed again because it didn't run at the detailer, so he charged me to have it detailed, not only to have a job, so I had to pay again to have it detailed, $250 again. So $500 to detail, which actually still isn't bad considering how nice that truck came out. That's pretty high, but whatever. Those moldings, ridiculously expensive. $460 for the wheel moldings. I did an air filter, a sway bar link, $36. We also did brakes all around for $220, and I did a brake wiring harness for $51, totaling an entire cost of $14,486. So that's how much I have invested into this vehicle. Now we subtract 20,000 from 14,486, give me a grand total of, drum roll please, $5,514 on one vehicle. Now that sounds incredible, and it is. That is incredible. Some people work an entire month to make that much money. Now keep in mind, that isn't what it looked like when I got it. You gotta remember, the truck looked like this when I first bought it. It was really, really rough. So the talent, the skill, is knowing what's good and what's bad. I take gambles, I take risks. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Like this one coming up. I made a video on never buying a Hummer ever again. I bought a Hummer again, and it's backfiring. It's killing me. That's a whole other video. So yes, I did really, really well on the Denali. Others I sometimes don't do really well, which is like the BMW video I just showed, and this Hummer that's gonna come out, and another BMW that is gonna come out soon. The idea is to win more than you lose. Sometimes you lose, and I do gamble. That Tahoe, I gambled on, I actually won. That's another video coming out. So it's a calculated risk. I know my job, I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I lose though. You just have to win more than you lose. Today was a fun one. I really, really enjoyed doing those. I love those trucks anyway. If it was fun for you, if you learned a little bit, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and if you want to get notifications for when we make new videos, the bell down below. Whew, so that truck was a lot of work. This video, I just want to give a special thanks again to Scentbird, with link in description, Flying Wheels FW55 for a discount. Great idea for Christmas gifts that are coming up for you, for someone else. Scentbird, thanks a lot for sponsoring this video. Appreciate it. Hey everyone, thanks again for watching my video. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed or clicked that bell, please do so, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. There are videos right here in playlists, which are your best recommended videos if you want to watch some more of our Flying Wheel stuff. Thanks for the support again. Adios.